Hello, everyone. So, we're just starting the live in about a minute. So, waiting for Srisha to join the discussion. Hi, Srisha.
Hi,
Hi, good
Narendra.
evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hi. So, just had a little bit of an issue with the desktop, so I was not able to invite. So, just logged in from the mobile right now. So, yeah. So, welcome, Srisha. So, it's been a rainy day today. Hopefully, it'll get better.
How from the morning? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, so first of all, thanks everyone for joining the live discussion with Srisha. So the discussion is about thoughts about Children of Tomorrow. So Children of Tomorrow is a film that that is Narendra Kumar J, have produced and directed, and right now it is being played at Symphony Cinemas. Uh, and I would like to thank everybody who have already watched the film. Uh, Out of them, Sri Sai is one of the people who have recently watched it, and uh, so he had some thoughts that he felt that we could share it to the people. So I just thought it's a great idea to have a live discussion with him. First of all, thanks, Srisha. A warm welcome to the guest of honor today.
Thank you. Thanks,
So
Narendra. It's been a pleasure. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, so, uh, so let me see in here. Okay, people are joining. So I'm sure they'll watch it. Sorry, I'm sure they'll join as the video progresses. Uh, so first, starting off, um, so I would like to leave the floor open to you to discuss, to share your thoughts about the film. So you're free to say anything. So over to you. Thanks.
First of all, thank you, Narendra, for this opportunity and this platform. I think it's wonderful to discuss about movies anytime, any day, especially with the like minded folks. And about a week back, I happened to, not a week back, I think about 2 weeks back, I happened to see this movie, Children of Tomorrow. And I got this ad display saying that it's available on Symphony Cinema, and that's how I got to know that an independent film is available. So I always used to look for independent films around, and usually it's the foreign language films that we come across. When we listen to independent films, here there was an Indian film, and then there was also someone from Bangalore who had made this, so I was very excited to see, and that's how I got into watching the movie. Okay. So it's I think the first half gives you a lot of variation in terms of reflecting your own life and looking into. I mean, for moments you think that it's a movie again on poverty or something, right? But actually, the movie doesn't turn out to be on poverty. It's about a positive message to the society. So from the time that movie began its journey with the two children, the little boy who is actually the protagonist, I should say, and the older boy, right, the two boys' journey, and how the old boy brings this boy into a profession. I think the whole takeoff was wonderful. I personally enjoyed it. In fact, I wrote a review also on Facebook and social media, and I asked some of my friends and relatives to watch it because rarely you get to see a movie which has a lot of substance. And this one's really, I think, because it was independent in my life. So, congratulations on your effort. I think it's a good story in my personal opinion.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Srisa, there is some disturbance with regards to audio.
Is it
Not
clear
sure
now?
from where it is.
Maybe I should be a little
A
near
little
me.
bit. Okay. I think it's a little bit clear now. Yes. So, yeah. So thanks for the feedback. So I'd like to go a little bit in detail right now. So, uh, was there any favorite scene that you enjoyed particularly, that kind of touched you, or maybe made a difference to you in a certain way or something? So anything that you personally liked, you are free to share it.
Yeah, yeah. I think two scenes in the film were very, very touching for me personally. I think there are a lot of scenes which I want to recollect. In fact, to be very frank, I watched this film already 3 times. Okay, so I'm already a fan of film. I think it's a great effort. There are so many scenes to remember, but two scenes which stands out in my memory, and probably it will stand out for the rest of my life. One is when that older boy, when he gets his first salary, I mean, the first time we show the salary through the film, he calls this. I mean, that moment, I was almost expecting that the owner of the garage wouldn't pay the boy, the little boy. Okay, and then he turned to the film, he didn't say anything to him. So, but what he did, the older boy, and the older boy calls this small boy to the side, and then gives a part of his salary to him. I think that really touched me. It's a wonderful moment and very touching. I would probably ask the audience to go and then watch this film to experience that moment. Even though I am breaking the suspense, I think it is still a very poignant. That is one scene I can recollect because it delves deep into several things. Um, a lot of us earn money, a lot of us save money, but very few people have the gesture of giving back something to society. I think you brought that point in a very subtle way through that scene. And the last scene, the climax, which I don't want to reveal here. Okay. The climax
Sure.
is it sends such a positive vibe, such a positive message. And what I liked about the climax is you didn't have any active speech there. You took the whole shot in silence through the silhouette, and then you just played music, and the tempo of the music kept communicating what it wants to communicate to the audience. I think that was wonderful. I think the craft was very good. That's what I liked in it. The message is something very touching again. The climax is so beautiful. I didn't expect that climax. I had two, three climaxes in my this climax was very good. So these are two things I will remember it.
Thanks a lot for the heartwarming thoughts. So, sure. Is there any aspects of okay, coming to the technical bits? So, anything that you felt kind of you felt it was something different, or something that you felt, okay, something that you observed was something good? You can definitely feel free to share. Yeah. Maybe it could be the filmmaking aspect, or the production aspect, or anything. The storytelling or anything. So.
Here again, I like to congratulate you because making a movie itself is a big challenge. And then you have done it every. You wrote the story, you conceptualized the idea, you wrote the screenplay. You also did the post production, that is, your sound mixing, background score, cinematography, editing, and you were there all over the film, right? So rarely movies bring that appeal of giving you the hint of that this is a director's film, right? Usually it is a star's film, usually it's a hero's film, and even in this, if I just watch it very carefully, I don't know who the hero is. Whether it is a little boy, whether it is an older boy, whether it is a parent, right? Or whether it is some second on the team, whether it is that hero, the boy when he grows up, right? And his love life. It is so well made that you can't say that any one character is the hero. I think that aspect of the craft is very nice because you are really respecting film as a medium. and then you make the audience and budding filmmakers and even the seasoned filmmakers who watch this, remind them that film is about everyone, right? It's about the crew, it's about the actors, and it reminds me that independent filmmaking spirit is all about that. So you brought that very beautifully. That's number one. Number two, I personally like the editing effort. I think the way you mix the background score and also the sound effects, especially during the scene transitions. It is very, very smooth and very seamless. Because when we watch the film on a video cut, right, without the music, we know exactly where the jumps are. But then that's the art of how you blend the music and the editing together. So I think you have done a phenomenal job. In fact, I would like to probably after at the end, I also had a couple of questions which I would like to ask about the track. I was really impressed about the background score. And another thing which I want to highlight is the performances. I think each one has given their best. Very, very good performance, especially with the lead hero, the man who grows up. Sorry, I don't get his name at the moment. He and the right, both of them have played very well. Very natural performance. What I also like, I think I should highlight this, is you have given a lot of pause in the film. This is not a movie where people keep talking fast just because you have some dialogue in the movie and you fill the movie with dialogues and these characters will keep talking. You have avoided all that stereotype. What you have done is you have given a lot of natural pauses. There is a lot of silence in the film. Suddenly somebody
Right.
speaks, but especially the hero. I think he has this right. So just his eyes, his expression,
Right.
those still there.
Yes.
And when we really look back from a critic standpoint, I think that's exactly how real life is. So you have brought in realism very neatly and then very little of drama in the film. So my personal takes on this.
Okay. Great. Thanks for the feedback. Actually, so there is some background noise. I don't know if it's from here or from that. So maybe.
Maybe it's from my side, I'm not sure, but I am in a silent room at the moment. No idea.
Okay. 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 Could be something to do with the internet connection. Anyway. Okay. So. Uh, regarding the so we just spoke about the production aspect and the storytelling and everything. So I hope you had a good experience watching it on Symphony Cinemas, the OTT platform that we recently launched. And this is our first offering, and we are in the process of getting a few more movies on board. So what did you like? So what was your experience, and what do you look forward from Symphony Cinemas in the future?
Yeah, I think it's a very important question to address, especially in this new age where there are a lot of independent budding filmmakers these days. Right? Everyone wants to convey something. I think storytelling is becoming part of our lives in all professions. Even if you go to the corporate, there is the part of storytelling, which becomes very important. And creativity is booming now in our market. Minus the COVID and the Corona situation, we'll keep that aside. But otherwise, the filmmaking as a profession is doing leaps and bounds in India, especially. The good part, also the not so good part, I would put in both ways, is the camera, the technology is so easy to available. And there are so many things which very easy to do and way of post-processing, editing, so I think is bridging that and is also bringing filmmakers much nearer. We have also a platform which is away from all these commercial and business-oriented OTT platforms like the Netflix, Amazon, which are more on the commercial side, I would say, because those are large platforms for large. But how do somebody make a film on a shoestring budget and then see that he or she gets a platform? And I think that is where Symphony Cinemas is winning big time. And
Hello. Hello, Srisha, are you able to hear me? Okay, you seem to have a poor connection. So let me try to add him. We just lost him in a minute. So just hang on.
Sorry, Narendra, I think it's the network.
Viewers, that there was some cut in between. So okay, so please continue. Sorry, yeah. Okay, we have lost him again.
Sorry, Narendra, I was getting a phone call and I think I disturbed the network. That is why getting logged out for some reason.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, so I just concluding that.
Srisha, actually, just one thing. Do you happen to have a earphone with these things? Hands-free, maybe, if that would make any difference. Or
let us see that. Yeah. Is it better now?
oh yes,
Narendra?
much better. Thanks. So
Really?
the
Okay,
audio is actually crystal clear right now. So
oh, okay. Yeah, I
so,
should have realized that much earlier. Anyway,
okay.
so what I wanted to say, let me just take that question again. Just in the interest that if we have lost any
Sure.
notes,
Yes.
yeah.
So the question was, so you happen to watch Children of Tomorrow on Symphony Cinemas platform that we recently launched. So firstly, how was your experience, and going forward, what is it that you are looking forward from a platform like Symphony Cinemas? So that was my question. The floor is open to you.
I think there is some replay and there is an echo for me, loop back into my headphone.
Okay.
But let me just continue. I think I got your question.
Okay.
So what I'm really thinking is Symphony Cinemas is going to become a great platform for budding filmmakers, right? Especially for the independent filmmakers. So there is this set of very enthusiastic people like you and me, who wants to narrate a story, and then we make this film, whether it's a short film or a feature. Regardless of that, we like a platform, and the big platforms like this, Netflix or Amazon, etc., it's not in the reach. We know it's not that easy to get it. So Symphony Cinemas really brings that platform to the budding artist, somebody like you and me who wants to write a script, who wants to make a film, and then post it online. So that's a great move, because we have seen such similar platforms in the West where they encourage a lot of independent filmmaking. But in India, I think this is one of its kind which is coming up. So definitely, it's going to be very useful. I think a lot of independent and short filmmakers should leverage this platform. And I would request all my friends and relatives across the network who are watching this to go and explore Symphony Cinemas and see what's there inside. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for all the encouraging words. So I think maybe if I think we had about 4 topics for today, and we have covered almost all of it. So unless you have anything additional to share, we could. So maybe is there anything else that you would like to add in the closing?
I actually wanted to understand the music part of it. So how did you compose the music? Are you from music background, and what brought you to that very sensitive kind of music that you have played? Was it some archive where you got inspired and then picked up some of these royalty-free music, or was it something you composed on your own? How did the music journey begin for this film?
Okay, so the music journey has been, I could say, a bit difficult actually for me in this, because I had to find the actual right voice for the character. Because music also has to kind of align with the characters and basically narrate a story of the protagonist through the music. So that is the intention of bringing music as a background score. So for me, it took some time to. I was experimenting a lot actually. Initially, I had a lot of string orchestras that I had. So I had actually already composed about 1 hour of music, which was already there in the film. So then I realized it was really not expressing the voice, that the actual voice of the character that the character deserves. So then I went back to the writing notes of the music, and I experimented a lot, and then I brought in piano notes, and then I so right now what is there in the film is every character has a certain theme, especially the protagonist. There is a no, there's a tune actually that narrates the story of the character, and it also goes through the same journey as the protagonist. So in initial, it is about nurturing. The notes actually nurture the character. It says, "Okay, come here, please sit down. What do you want?" So it's like that is the communication that it's trying to give. If you actually listen carefully, or you will actually experience subconsciously, it's very nurturing, like a mother, like how a mother or a father would nurture a child. So that's what the tune communicates. And but then going forward, it kind of that tune finds its own transformation along with the character as it progresses in the movie. And so there are 2 themes. One is this one, and the other is the run theme. Run theme is like when somebody is in danger. It says, "Okay, just run. Just don't think twice. Just run." So that's the run theme, which is there whenever the character is pushed into some some adversary, or those challenges that life presents itself to him. So that influences.
Yeah, the first one which you
main
explained
theme
was more of the repeating theme, right? That goes through the film. It's theme music that you have composed. The first one that you explained.
First one that I explained is when initially you must have noticed when he's with the mother. So there is a certain theme that comes, and then so that is the character theme, and then in the end, it from a nurturing kind of take, it goes into a heroic or something that is accomplished. So that's the transformation it finds, and in the end, that climax that you mentioned. So that I felt that voice came out after I did those changes for that tune, and it kind of comes full circle, as just like the character. It comes full circle, and it kind of puts him on the next journey that he could be able to pull off. So I feel music also is a certain character, and that character has to be the protagonist. So it has
manifests as a character.
Yes. I think the more it kind of accompanies the characters in the movie, and the more emotional connect that it gives to the audience, the better it is. It kind of touches
That's right,
the
yeah.
audience, and it enhances their experience of watching a human being on screen, and what the person is going through. So that was the journey actually. The moment, I mean, it's just like any other creative process. You start with a blank canvas, and you start kind of
Yeah,
building
but
it.
music is generally a very unique talent, I would say, right?
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Not all filmmakers can compose music, for example.
Uh,
So
yes, 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 yes.
that's a
Uh,
great effort.
Thank you, thank you. So from the beginning, in the sense from 90s, I've been kind of hooked on to film scores. So I've been following many great Hollywood composers like Hans Zimmer, John Williams, James Newton Howard since the 90s. So I used to have these cassettes and everything those days, listen to it
Mhm.
in the Walkman, and kind of repetitively keep listening. And then I kind of felt how it works. And in the sense, I was able to understand how it works, just like how watching films is the best way to learn. In the same way, listening to music is the best way to learn how to compose. Uh,
Fantastic.
so
That's nice.
so then I felt, okay, like since I already have a certain voice for the visual representation of the character,
Mhm.
I also have a certain oral or the audio form of voice for the character through the music.
Yeah,
So that's when I kind of both came together, and I felt it works for the audience as well as for me as a filmmaker in that
nice.
sense. So, but otherwise, I like, in the sense, it depends whether a scene requires audio, or I mean music, or not. So whenever we feel a certain emotion has to be amplified for the experience of the audience, so that they are touched
It's a very
emotionally.
tricky judgment, right?
It's
It's a
tricky.
very,
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
tricky judgment.
It's absolutely.
Especially, when you
Totally.
work as an independent filmmaker, you take
Yes.
those shots and judgments. It's very
Uh,
funny because sometimes you feel there should be some music or some sound in
yes,
the
yes.
background, and then you play that, and then see it loses the emotion, and then suddenly you feel silence is better. You remove that.
Exactly, exactly,
It's
exactly.
a very
And
interesting
that
process.
true, true, true. And actually, even after that, also we are not sure, because we are in a certain state of mind when we're taking that decision. But when we kind of step out and come back maybe a day or two later, that experience is changed now. What we felt while we decided, okay, whether it needs music or not,
Yeah,
suddenly starts
yeah.
feeling different. So I think it's a very tricky process, but fortunately, it's a creative process. So I think that's the advantage of a creative process, where you it's a blank canvas, so you can paint anything, but as long as it also resonates with somebody who's watching the painting. So I think that's where a filmmaker's, I would say, job is done well, because yeah, one way to look at it is that we make films for ourselves, but at
Mhm.
the same time we are narrating story to someone. Just like, so the way I see it is, so if I'm narrating a story to somebody who's sitting with me, I make
Okay.
sure that it's communicated well. I make sure that the storytelling aspect is good. It's not that I want to just say, that's why that
Yeah,
person is listening, right? So I think it's both ways.
yeah, that's
So
good.
it has to
Yeah.
have the reciprocation and the reach of that communication. So I think that's where film has to also achieve that, because it also, I think ultimately it's somebody else, it's for someone we are narrating the story, right? and uh, and maybe after a few days or a few years, if we look at it, relook at it, we'll be in the shoes of the audience. We would have forgotten the
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
creative process, or the making, as we don't look at it as a filmmaker. When we start looking at
Yes.
it as an audience, we'll feel, okay, what did I do here, or something went wrong here. So I think it's always good to think from the audience's perspective, and so I think it's from the initial starting. For example, if I have a movie idea, the way I look at it is I start visualizing in a theater. Like, okay, I'm sitting in a theater. The movie starts like this. Okay, so there are some 200 people, 300 people sitting with me. but at the same time, I should not lose that voice that I have. What is it that for me personally, as an audience of my own film, I would enjoy, like, along with these people, right? So I think that would kind of put us on a certain pathway to think in a certain way and take some decisions based on.
And most often, music and editing are two aspects which actually brings the real spirit and holds the audience.
Absolutely.
So there is a saying that if you are a master of music and editing, then you have won the audience. That is so true.
Exactly. True. So true.
Right?
So true.
So I mean, there are all the integrated elements, but these two form the crux.
Exactly.
They form the soul of the film. Yeah.
True. So I think it's ultimately. I think it depends on the film, because I've certainly agreed to that. I mean, they have also seen films where there is absolutely no music, but it's kind of so engrossing to sit and just watch. Like, it's like they hold the audience by their collar and make it work, but there is no violence or there is no music. So I think it is about again, edit is what I think. Edit comes into picture there. So if the edit is already, I think, communicating all those things that the film is trying to communicate, or the filmmaker is trying to communicate, then I think the music it kind of brings in as a as an accompaniment to that aspect. In some cases, of course, some cases.
Yeah, please continue. Yeah, you were saying.
Sorry. So I think it is there definitely. But otherwise, music is something. I think music is divine. So by nature, by the very nature of the art form, it touches people without. I'm saying non.
It's a very subconscious element. It is a very subconscious element. Yeah.
Exactly. So in that ways, I think that is definitely a blessing for the art of filmmaking. And of course, when filmmaking itself started in the, I think, 1900s, you must have watched so many, I think, Charlie Chaplin or black and white movies.
Are you from any music background?
No, actually, I don't have any formal training or anything. It is just what I heard and listened, and it kind of sank in, and after a certain time, it starts responding, like, to when the art form starts responding to you, that okay, you kind of on the right path, and you want to explore more of it, right? You want to make mistakes, you want to experiment, you want to find out what the masters have done, you want to deconstruct that, you want to, and then you bring in your own voice, so so I think that's a great process to have, and fortunately we're all artists, and I think we are blessed in that ways, because
true. And one thing I keep thinking is how this independent filmmaking platform is going to evolve in Indian subcontinent, especially. Even though today there are a lot of independent filmmakers coming up in their own spheres.
Right.
There isn't a common platform that encourages that. Thanks to FUC, recently Pawan Kumar has started the platform in a different way, in a little large scale. I don't call it as an independent filmmaking platform, but that's a platform for bringing in lateral ideas, for doing alternative cinema, etc. And then most of the filmmakers who have subscribed to that platform, they are attempting to make something different. But the kind of cinema which you have made, right, like The Children of Tomorrow, how do we bring in a kind of platform for such independent filmmakers? That would be a good paradigm shift for our industry, because today most often, though not the challenge of the investment, but the challenge of presenting it is larger, right? So there are people who are actually making short films, but very limited avenues for them to broadcast that. So I think Symphony Cinemas can be one of the best platforms for showcasing that, and then giving that edge and support for the short filmmakers as well.
Yes, exactly. So true. Actually, I totally agree to all those points. And when it started, that was the intention, actually. So basically, there is always a struggling artist in all of us. So an artist's journey is not an easy task. In all the ways, there is struggle. So starting from how we learn the art form to how we make the art form to how we present the art form. So these three aspects, there is immense challenges, and there is a lot of hurdles that the artist has to cross and everything. So I felt this platform can be so okay, when it comes to the presentation aspect, I felt there's a lot of work to be done, because as you are aware that there are limited avenues to for an artist to present their works. So it could be, so when it comes to films, it is cinema, that is the theaters, movie halls, and the other is the TV or the satellite rights, and the third one is the OTT or the online platforms. But what happens is the problem between the demand and supply is so huge, and there is so much gap that usually the filmmakers are on the receiving it than on the giving it. So they are kind of they don't have an upper hand when it comes to putting their movie in front of the audience. It is always the distributors and I would say the exhibitors who have the upper hand, and they always decide what they feel might be good for the firstly for themselves, but which is it's okay. But from an artist point of view, I felt it definitely needs a lot of change. So from Symphony Cinemas, what we want to do is we want to provide a stage to present their works, right? So for me, what I felt, what really kind of disturbed me was we as artists, like we painstakingly do our artworks, but if we don't find a stage or a platform to present it to the people, then so I think then collectively as a society we have definitely failed in many ways.
Yeah, I think that's the point, right? This collectiveness is very essential here, because there is no reform or a transformation in arts unless there is a society, and that's largely observed in the history of not just films, but you take screenwriting, theater.
Yes.
You see any form of art, including the writing arena, right? Unless there is a collectiveness, unless there is a society, which brings people into it.
True.
The transformation doesn't stand by itself.
Exactly. Actually, art is so important. Sorry to please continue.
Yeah, I also was just thinking, right? How do a short filmmaker, or let's say somebody like you has an idea today, he wants to make an independent film,
right?
Can Symphony Cinemas lead some sort of a consulting advice?
Yes.
Or a platform for them, or somebody has, let's say, a short film. Can they approach Symphony Cinemas for hosting it on your platform?
Definitely. So, actually, yeah. So we as a platform, we provide the exhibition aspect of it for all the filmmakers. So no matter what budget or what kind of a segment or what genre it is. Firstly, I want or for us as a platform, we want the artist's work to reach the audience. So that is the basic, I would say, intention. Secondly, we also help in terms of the other aspects. So that would be in terms of making, or as you mentioned, consultation. So whether it's, I would say, some guidance regarding the production aspects, or even help regarding the production aspect or the pre-production aspect. So all of these things we will be taking care. So as a long-term, I would say, as a sustainable goals for us is to not only just present content, but also create content. So we are focused on creating quality content for the audiences online right now online. And I think online, what happens is people only look at quality of the sorry, I'm getting a call. So whether it is the story or anything, so people don't actually look at the star value. I mean, I don't know, according to my experience. But basically, the people want their time to be they want their time to be utilized in a qualitative manner. So that's the point that we want to emphasize from Symphony Cinema. So when people when some customer or some audience logs into Symphony Cinemas, they have to have that the belief that whatever time and money they spent on buying a film and watching it, it's definitely worth it. So we'll make sure that they feel that okay, it was worth their time spent. So I think that's where we differentiate ourselves when it comes to our competitors, like let's say Amazon or Netflix or any other things. It is not just about the quantity, but it's about the quality, is what I believe. Because if you log into any of these platforms, you will actually spend quite some time figuring out what to watch, and at the end of it, you kind of stop that process and kind of move on from you just exit that app or something. But what we want to assure from our platform is that the moment you log in, you know that whatever you want to watch it has that quality, and it will definitely make you feel that your time is very well worth spent. Because when we are choosing the films also, we'll make sure that that aspect is there. And of course, but what I feel is there are audiences for all kinds of films, whether it is, let's
that's
say,
true. That's true. Yeah. So I mean, and that poses a challenge also, because we do not know
yes,
where do you want to position your art versus commercial value, right? Because
right.
there is an audience for every kind of taste, and this
Yes,
mix and match is where usually the filmmakers are lost with, and the business dynamics change so much by the time we complete a product and release it. Yeah,
exactly. So true. Agree. So I think there is one aspect right now which I felt makes sense, because if you look at the people who have access to the online content and who are ready to pay for it, there is a certain segment of people when it comes to that. So going back to that art versus commercial, or let's say mass versus class, what usually is there, the single screen versus multiplex audiences. So what I felt is right now, according to today's I would say infrastructure and I would say economic access to let's say banking, online banking, or online transaction access may not be there that much for the single screen audience. Somebody who wants to watch a let's say a mass kind of a film. So I'm not sure if out of all the people who go and watch it, if they have access to pay for it, online. So maybe a good idea right now until a few years would be to concentrate on the qualitative aspect, or the
and I
the
think also
content.
the phase of how we see cinema itself is always changing. It's actually an ever-changing paradigm, I would say. It's not that today it is changing and then yesterday it was all stagnant, right?
Exactly.
If I see the history of the last 100 years, I think every 7 years, 6 years, 7 years, the taste keeps changing. What is very interesting is there is also this cyclic order which keeps repeating also in some ways, right? A movie like, for example, Bell Bottom in Kannada recently. I think people like to go back and then take back some part of the history that was left behind, and then when you revive that, so somewhere there is a cyclic order also within the change.
Yes. True. So people definitely, I mean, agree to that. People want to revisit previously prevalent styles or prevalent cultures. So which is a great aspect to, as artists are a creative theme to explore and have it in our films and things. Definitely. Because I think from time to time people change, and the generations change. I think on an average between 10 to 15 to 17 years a generation changes, and of course the taste also changes.
I think these days it's all 6 years, 7 years, 6, 7 years. You see a new generation.
True. Exactly.
Life is moving very fast.
True. So true. I think technology also has a great role to play here. So, for example, at about 10 years back, maybe we were not able to do a session like this. It was a different thought process. So I think technology is a great enabler to for creative people to bring in different other aspects. For example, when the digital revolution happened, and it's definitely, I mean, you are aware that anybody with a mobile phone can shoot a film today. So
Yeah.
I think
And
it
people
has
have made movies.
yes,
People
yes,
have
so
made
true,
movies.
so
There are
true.
web series shot on mobile today,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're pretty good. They're
So
pretty
true,
good on
so
the
true,
platforms.
so
Also.
true. It's
Yeah.
actually fortunate for the artists because it gives the means to achieve those creative works.
Yeah.
Versus previously, about 10 to 15 years back, it was always a concentrated amount of place we had to go in order to make a film. You also you had to kind of find a producer first because of the expenses and
Oh
all those
yeah,
things.
yeah.
So I
I mean,
think it is
looking back at
definitely.
myself
Uh,
when I was doing Super 8 films, right?
yeah,
That's
true,
what I
true.
started with. And
Yes.
those days, the process of editing, sound mixing,
So true. So true.
we had no idea, what the output on the film was, etc. I
True,
think
true.
you're right. Today, technology has brought us so much of comfort and ease with which we can do things.
So true, so true.
I also think there is an irony to this, right? Is that when there is ease of technology, we also lose quality subconsciously. I don't think
Okay.
we are so passionate like the filmmakers who were then when there was no aid.
Okay.
Take for example like a dolly shot
Uh,
that we can do today using
just
all those smooth trolleys and the technology that we have.
gimbal and
Those
everything.
times they used to use wheelchairs, etc. to bring those dolly shots. Even wheelchairs for getting those dolly shots. But I think probably
Right.
the very system and the challenge then really made people to be that serious and passionate. Right?
True, true. So,
The ease of technology can also bring in an imbalance. That's my point.
okay, okay,
Because
okay.
we become automatically a bit lazy and then lose that strength of passion.
Okay,
And
okay.
that is visible as well, as a mix. It comes as a package always, looks like.
True, 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 true. I agree, I agree. But I think it definitely also enables, I think, few things. So I think what it kind of brought in was the access to the people, the talents. So let's say if previously somebody was talented in, let's say, making films, but they had to kind of navigate their way through going and convincing people to, produce their
Yeah,
films and everything.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think,
Those things have changed now.
yes, yes. So
Yeah.
I think the positive, I would say, effects are that anybody who has raw talent can definitely experiment at such a low cost and bring in new aspects and disrupt. So there are always these new things always keep changing and disruption happens. So it's
Yeah.
always those people who have so much strong ideas and passion, but with no means, they go ahead, fight for their cause, and get a film made with a mobile phone camera, and the end product is amazing. So I think those are the people who
Yeah.
bring in the disruption
Absolutely.
and change things forever. Uh,
Yeah.
but of course, as it goes forward, they also kind of become the establishment. But it's a cycle. Like then somebody else comes with some other groundbreaking
True. True.
aspect. So I think it's just a
It's
cycle.
a moving paradigm, and that's what
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
this field so interesting, right?
So
By
true,
the
so
time we
true, so
think
true.
that we have a story, and you see the challenge for me at least. I don't know how long you took to make Children of Tomorrow. Was it like a 2 years or 3 years journey? What was the
No,
journey
it
like?
took
How
quite a
long it took
lot.
for you?
It took quite a lot of time. Actually, we started back in 2014.
Oh man,
So then I
that's
think,
like okay.
uh,
Yeah.
so actually most of
Because I know that I
our
have been talking to you for at least 3 years around that. So
yes, yes,
must
yes,
have been
yeah,
at
so
least
true,
three
so
years
true.
of journey. Yeah.
Yes, actually,
Yeah.
most of the child's story that you see was all shot by August of 2014. So between
Oh
April
man,
to
that's
August,
like six years back. Yeah, that
yeah,
we are
yeah.
talking about.
So it was a very fast production. In April,
Probably that
May,
boy would have
June.
been a big man now watching the movie.
Yeah, actually, yeah, actually, he's in his high school. Actually, I mean, you won't even recognize like him right now. But yeah, of course, the film took its time to kind of find the light of the end of the tunnel.
And I'm glad. I
And
think it has shaped out well. And my point was, by the time, see, this field is like by the time you conceive the story, screenplay, and then you bring a movie out into the society,
yeah,
probably the culture has changed by then from the time it was conceived to the time it
yeah, yeah,
was released. Of course, these days there are a lot of things in the platter that comes in as predefined and pre-packaged, right? Even the
Yeah.
definition of pre-production is kind of very modular, and the production is very modular. So we work in a frame. But if you were to look back into the independent filmmaking times again, right, and then if we can bring the essence of that, just the way you have brought in Children of Tomorrow, there is a lot more spacing.
Okay.
And with spacing, you take a lot more time to make the product, but then the culture has shifted by the time you release the movie. So there is both sides to it, right? The advantage as well as the flip side of losing that essence of culture by the time it is released. Yeah.
True. I agree. So I think here the trick for the filmmaker is to kind of find some things that are to some extent timeless. Like, for example, I think emotions are timeless. Like whether it's, let's say, I happen to read a lot of Samskrita poetry, so of, let's say, 800 AD or 1200 AD, like Kalidasa, Bana, and all those people. So actually, when you read and enjoy this poetry, you know that the emotions are exactly the same of what we as humans are today.
Yeah, I don't think the human consciousness has changed ever, right?
That's
the good part.
Exactly.
End of the day, we are all humans. Yeah. And if you can tap on that, it can always connect. Yeah. That's a nice point.
So I think ultimately it's the emotions that connect. So maybe whether it's somebody who's watching today or somebody who might be watching after 200 years. So if the emotion is honest and true in the film that has come out, they'll definitely, I think, connect to it. Of course, there'll be differences like maybe the kind of costumes they're wearing, or let's say the culture when it comes to public, behavior, or the setting, the architecture, and everything. But I think maybe that's the true test of a classic. It's something that is relevant at any point of time. So
thanks to some aspects like morality, what we call as good or bad, etc. Right? I don't think those things have shifted too largely. They are more or less around the same periphery. They are not moved out very far. Yeah.
So true. I think the human condition. Yes. The human condition, the human experience, the emotion aspect, everything. I think it is the same. It might be still the same. I think even after maybe 10,000 years, if somebody is watching after 10,000 years, they'll also definitely relate to it. So I think those are the core experiences of the human existence, which might definitely not change. So I think that is something that we can. So I think that's a trick for a filmmaker, though. Like how using the medium of film, that I'm able to touch on these aspects at the same time, keep the other things not relevant. For example, the cultural aspect or something that is time bound. For example, I've used a mobile phone in the film. So maybe going forward after about 10 years or something, it's something different. It's not a mobile phone anymore. Like, for example, we had, let's say, landline telephones in those days, or a pager. Today nobody uses. But at the same time, how relevant for me as a filmmaker for the audience's experience when they're watching the film is that I think that is a trick here. So maybe to downplay the technological aspect and up the experience of that. So maybe what did the protagonist feel when he saw the paging message should be kind of upheld, and the pager itself should not be showed that much. So I think that's the trick here, for us to play on the audience's mind when they're watching that film, to kind of overcast the emotional experience on the technology. So I think that could be one of the ways to tackle the aspect of making it a classic. So I think these are the creative decisions that might enable an optimum experience for the audience, is what I feel.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
True. It's a great discussion that we had. So I'm glad you brought out some very good points.
Thank you so much, Narendra, for the opportunity. And I definitely wish good luck for both the Children of Tomorrow to get much more wider audience as well as for your own filmmaking career. So we will stay connected. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks so much, Srisha, for the session. And so for those who are watching, Srisha is also a very accomplished, highly accomplished astrophotographer and a wildlife photographer. Please do visit his profile. You will actually see some amazing, images that he has captured of deep space objects like nebulae, galaxies, and planets, and everything. Something for me personally, I have a great passion, but I have not yet dedicated time to it. So maybe I'll get a chance to learn few things from you on those aspects. And yeah, so and also he conducts a lot of these workshops. So I just came across that something is coming up. So those who are interested, please do visit his profile and see if you would want to join his workshop and things. So yeah.
Thanks, Narendra. Yeah,
sure. So thanks, Srisha. It was a pleasure talking to you. So yeah, so here I'd like to announce something. So coming Sunday, that is 2 days after today. So there will be a steel deal where there is 70% off on Children of Tomorrow. So whoever would want to watch the film, so please feel free to watch it on Sunday, or if you are in a hurry to watch, you can watch before that also. So yeah, so I'll be putting on a message in that as well in the coming post. So that was the thing. So yeah, so thanks, Srisha, for your time.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing all the encouraging words and insights.
It's been my pleasure, and I think a lot more people should watch and then share their thoughts about it. This is the way the cinema as a medium grows. So
yes. So
congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.